Mr. Arun Tiwari, so good to have you on the show. First thing, of course, the banking sector is going through an enormous digital transformation at this point. Where is Union Bank positioned and what will be your game-changing plan in this particular environment?
Look, the business we are in, it serves to the masses. Masses, part of it is in heart of the Mumbai and part of it's in the far-flung area of the country, which is Kashmir to Kanyakumari or northeast to Gujarat. Unless otherwise, we deliver our products, one, which is needed by the customer, two, it's simple, three, it's easy to use, and which is the most important thing, it should be on the IT platform. I'll come to that in detail, why IT. Your reach could be, if we look at the communication, the way it has metamorphosed the communication system in India in last 5-10 years, it's the mobile. The simplest example is mobile. So if you have to reach to that last person, I think IT is the only solution. IT, everybody knows hands-on. I'm talking about the mobile banking. Two, it reduces my cost. Because if a transaction done at a branch and at mobile, the cost is 1/40th. What I get done at my mobile, it costs me about 2 to 3 rupees, and at the branch, the average cost is about 55 to 60 rupees. And it's like this. So I'm happy because I've reduced my cost of the transaction and other operating costs, establishment costs through that, and the customer also. So it suits both.
While there are so many new players in this particular space now, small banks are coming, payment banks, new banks with new age technology. How easy or difficult is it for banks like yourself, which are already established, to really gear up for the new evolution?
If you talk of IT perspective in the banking space, perhaps Union Bank had always have that first mover advantage, whether you talk about the service or you talk about, I mean, we were one of those first banks who were 100% on CBS platform way back in 2007, 2008. You talk about many of the products, talking ATMs, we were the first one. CBS 100% in our RRBs. I mean, not that we have done it in bank per se, even at our RRB we have done it, one of the first ones. You look at the products in recent past we have given, selfie account. When craze is selfie, why not to develop something which is on selfie? You click it, take photographs of your credentials, upload it. That's it.
Yes.
Or tableless banking.
Yes.
Why I need my customer should walk into my branch, go to his place. It's a missed call. Our marketing person will go to your place. Again, same exercise, 15-20 minutes. There you go. And before he leaves, or you could ask him for a cup of tea or coffee. Your account number is on your mobile number. And not only that, look, if you have to remain ahead of the curve, perhaps you have to think, act and deliver ahead of the curve. Only then it will succeed. We are perhaps one of the first public sector banks or amongst the banks in India who is working for last 8-10 months on business analytics or predictive business analytics. If you walk into my branch and the moment that front officer or clerk sitting on the counter, he keys in your account number, there would be a pop-up, whether you have got mobile banking or not, whether you have got interbanking or not. So it's pull and push both.
Okay.
So it's the question of engagement. And this all is weaved around a philosophy that keep your product simple and easy to use.
That's true. But how many of your existing clients have really managed to transform into the digital world?
Okay, good. That question also favors me. In the sense, as of today, 64% of my customer-facing transactions are on e-platform, which is highest for any bank. And what you also asked me was about the new banks coming on board. Look, I firmly believe in competition always brings the best.
Of course.
And it benefits the customer most. More the merrier. It was the fun of, I think, about 20-25 years back when the first private sector bank came on board. It was that bank who brought IT in the banking. If it was not for that, maybe we would have been little laggards as a system, I mean, banking system, to embrace IT in the banking. It has eased our lives also as a banker and to the customer also. It has brought in efficiency, a lot of efficiency. In as much as talking about new entrants, you are talking about 2 universal bank licenses, then 11 in principle agreements or approvals have been given for payment banks and 10 small banks. I think it will take for them little more time to graduate to that level. So I don't foresee in immediate future that there would be a great challenge for us.
Okay.
It will not be the question of survival. It would always be otherwise.
But there's space for everybody.
Everyone.
And therefore they will survive, but they will not pose a competition to the already existing banks, is what you're saying.
When it comes to competition, why not collaborate? Talking about payment banks, now it's been about 6 months.
It wasn't anticipated to collaborate with bigger players, but it has managed to do that, I think.
That's right.
That space.
That's right. I mean, if you remember, everybody is talking about the mergers and acquisitions within the banking space also. So going forward, whenever it happens, it will happen. But talking about these new gen banks which are coming in, payment banks, it was on the anvil for quite some time. It's been 6 months since RBI gave a go-ahead. But still, it seems to me on the drawing board stage. Because 100 crores capital.
Yes.
Whatever you collect by way of deposit, 75% is prescriptive, that SLR requirement per se, because they can invest in government securities only. And then you have the limitation.
They can't lend.
You can't lend. So ultimately, they'll have to look at their business model. And it will be successful, as I look at it today, unless otherwise you have enormous volumes. From the profit would come.
But initially, do you think there'll be a price war? Because they will want to really get into the game, and they have that 1 lakh limit of deposit. And for that, for attracting that, they may give a higher price, and therefore that whole price war in the deposit rate can be kicked in.
I'll take the example of other company. All these e-tailers who have come in. Now the promoters took a decision that every year we'll burn this much of capital. If somebody comes with those deep pockets that for next 3 years or 4 years I'll burn this much, so be it. But beyond that, what?
Yeah. Is that sustainable?
Ultimately, it's not just the capital part of it. Now, to run that model, you need to have very strong IT platform or mobile if you're...
they have captive subscribers which are there.
So in the times to come, I have a reason to believe that there would be a blur in between the telecom companies and the banks for that business model. But brick and mortar branch will exist.
Okay.
It would be hybrid of IT enabled and your brick and mortar branches. Because, at the end of the day, even if you take the example of one of the most developed economy, United States of America, people are going back to the branches. So it's a full circle. It's a full circle. We have that client base it would be in Bombay, it would be in a small town where this person would like to go and talk to somebody.
Of course. So you are of that view that brick and mortar banks, branches would remain. Would have their own niche.
That's right. And it would be a hybrid model. Because, I have that client base also who would have a debit card, will go to the on-site ATM at the branch, take out his money, and then will take out his passbook and go into the branch and will ask, update my passbook. So I have to cater that also.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
So for me, sum and substance is, I welcome competition, more the merrier.
But Mr. Tiwari, you probably would agree to at least one thing, that this technological evolution puts all the banks, all the new banks and any such platform on the same level, at the same line. Now it depends on you, how you take it forward to really compete and then win the race.
Yes, so anybody who will have the first mover advantage will be the winner. And again, talking about IT, if there are two banks who are running on the same platform of IT, because there are not very many service providers for that in India, why should I not collaborate? Because I would be spending the same money, the other bank or banks would be spending the same money, and I'm looking in for opportunities with some publicity banks where we will collaborate.
Okay.
At the back end. It's the platform. You use it, I use it.
Okay.
Yes, and we are working on that.
Okay, so it would be other PSU banks of the same size, or could it be the...
size doesn't matter. If we are running on the same platform, like Finacle is your CBS. So if anybody who's on Finacle, why not to collaborate?
How cost competitive will that collaboration be?
I have spent money. Why somebody else should also spend money? And there are a couple of applications which I develop for a particular segment or service. Somebody else also develops. It's duplication. Why not? I mean, I have developed it or you developed it. We use it.
But everybody is looking at this digital space. Now, replication of the models is also very easy. So what will be the game-changing idea there? What will differentiate you so that your customers stay with you than going to some other bank?
We have got a culture within the organization that innovation is homegrown. We have got a separate portal where all 36,000 employees are welcome, and we encourage them to put those small ideas which are really innovative. Would you believe, as of today, in last 8-9 months, we have got about 2,600 such ideas. 300 of them were worth implementing, and 70 of them have been implemented. It comes free of cost. And IRCTC prepaid card was one of those ideas, and we are the first bank to have issued that card. So like this, or selfie. Sir, why can't we do account opening through selfie? Or sir, why can't we do that stateless banking? I mean, these are all grown ideas. That's paid us very good dividends. If I talk about just one example, stateless banking, the number of accounts opened or the value of those accounts is much greater than the normal accounts.
Okay.
So I'm getting value for money.
So acquisition of customers at a lower cost, and also time and efficiency. All this all right. How much of that really has percolated down to your margins as well?
One of the oldest products which we gave to the customer was ATM. The way we have rejigged our ATM operations in the last 1 year, it's a profitable business for me. Yes. Look, if I know that my ATM, say in Churchgate area in Mumbai, other banks' cards are being used on this. So I am out of pocket. There are certain pockets where my ATM's hits are low, maybe within 1, 2 or 3 square kilometers. Just shift them. And we could see that difference.
Yes.
In 2 months' time. Not only that, when we did it, this exercise we started about a year back. In last 6 months, our hits, per day hits, in all over India have gone up by 40%.
So how much of this data analytics are you using to really understand the customers and also bring in more customer centricity for the bank?
We are not just working on the business analytics, we are working on predictive business analytics as well. And I think we would be the only bank as of today in India who is working on that. And it's giving us results. And on the pilot basis, wherever we have done it, in Mumbai and Delhi, I have 2x results already in last 3-4 months' time.
So Mr. Tiwari, hold your thought on that particular bit. We'll take a short break and we'll come back to discuss more about the digital thrust in the banking sector with Mr. Arun Tiwari. Welcome back to this special show, and Mr. Tiwari is with us talking about the entire transformation in the digital space when it comes to the banking sector in India. So the NASSCOM summit just got over, and I was speaking to some of the global heads of IT companies. They were of the view that the hardware will not be as valuable in the future as the data that will be generated through this technological hardware. And that is the future that IT companies are also looking at. And I think bank is giving them most amount of business. But then also one big issue that has cropped up in the IT world is that the banks, visibility in terms of the business coming in, at least in the global space, is looking weak at this point. Any thoughts on that, Mr. Tiwari? Of course, we are also facing that NPA trouble. Is that going to really bring down the kind of thrust and evolution that we are seeing in the digital space? Or will it move us more towards that because it's efficient?
I think your second part is more relevant.
Okay.
We have no option as a bank, or for that matter, any service industry. IT has to play its role. And in the DNA of the organization, I can feel it, that data is useless unless otherwise it's converted into information, intelligent information.
Intelligent, yes.
Information and knowledge. And I wish that all my employees, unionized, they are really knowledge-based employees, which drives them.
How is the rural space and acquisition of customers there working out with the digital thrust?
Entire Prime Minister Jan Dhan Yojana was on the back of IT. That answers. I mean, like IT has enabled that. Before this was kick-started from the ramparts of Lal Killa on 15th August 2014, we really did not know as a banker that we have that much of prowess. Those many accounts, 20 plus crore accounts as on today, and about 30,000 plus crore amount. Neither we had thought that we will be able to open those many number of accounts and this much of balance can come in. So it's also a realization, and I must say a great thanks to IT, that we have realized that bottom of the pyramid is also bankable.
A new bank has opened, of course, IDFC Bank has opened quite a few branches. Bandhan is another one which has a rural thrust, which has huge inroads made in certain states like West Bengal. How is the competition really building in the rural area?
I think if we still look at the penetration of the banking services, it may have little over concentration in certain pockets. But when we look at such a large country like India, everybody has got a space to grow and grow profitably.
Then shifting to another area, Mr. Tiwari, of course, now debt issue has been a huge cause of concern. RBI as a regulator has also been talking about it and how to tackle it. Now, is IT-enabled services also capable of giving you enough sort of platforms by way of which red alerts, red flags can be created in the system way before time so that these issues don't come up? For future, are we gearing up for something like that as well?
We are already there. Let me tell you. Let's start from, in as much as the IT, the way it supports in credit origination. We take a lot of help of IT. We use others' data, which is available. The processing part of it is on lending automation system. The monitoring part, which is most important, again, it's online real time.
Yes.
So those alerts keep coming at the end of the day, and we take a call, which are really serious one or critical.
It has helped in certain situations?
It has helped. It has helped.
Okay.
The dashboard which we have developed for all verticals, they have on their fingertips real time what is happening in the organization.
Oh, wow.
That is what the differentiator is all about. I mean, when I talk the communication, when I talk to any of my branch manager, number one, we use IP phones. So in the process, I can see his face, he can see my face. And the person also knows that chairman has got the numbers of as late as yesterday of my branch or of my region, of my zone. So when you know that everything is known, you are better prepared.
Surveillance system is also in place. That is the burning topic.
I will not say surveillance, it's monitoring.
We have had certain situations where irregular transactions have taken place. So monitoring them and probably containing them.
You said about, without giving it the name, irregular transactions, which is for a bank in a large amount, which were talked about. Yes. Look, some of these things to certain extent, it happens everywhere. But how quickly you are able to check that?
Yes, of course.
And I take that pride. The moment it happened, we check that. We plug that.
How do you see the entire dynamics of banking in India changing in the near future?
Ultimately, from bankers' perspective, you may have an IT-driven product, but is it good for the customer? Is it simple to understand? Is it simple to use? If we can tick these boxes, that is really innovative innovation. Otherwise, just a product like any other over-the-counter product, Me Too kind of. No. So that is what we are trying to develop as a system across the organization, that if you have to give something little different, which is easy to use and which will easily allow the system to acquire a willing customer.
Now, Mr. Tiwari, speaking to you at a time like this when NPA concerns are really looming large in the entire banking sector, RBI has given a diktat. All the clearance operation is on by all the banks in Q3 as well as Q4. How do you see the entire business environment for banks like yours, and I'm talking about mid-level PSBs, going forward, because the most amount of shareholders' concerns is around this sector of the banking space?
I won't call it diktat. It's like going to your family doctor. If he is sincere and if he cares about you,
he gives you a bitter pill, you have to take it.
Better take it. You will be healthier, much faster and prosperous as well. I think I'm in for cleaning up or whatever name you give. That is what I say. If Swachh Bharat we talk about, why not Swachh balance sheet also? It should be.
Okay. And finally, I also wanted to understand the entire CSR thrust of Union Bank. What all is being done?
One good thing which is prevalent in our bank is all CSR activities are done through a social foundation, Union Bank of India Social Foundation, which is based out of Bangalore. And when we talk about CSR, it's for education, it's for health, it's for sanitation, it's for education, just about anything and everything.
And how crucial is capital infusion by the government at this point?
Capital, yes, it's important, but what level of the capital? I am yet to, what is the right level of the capital? I mean, you know, not very many years, 7, 8 years back, one of the biggest banking institution went underbelly, which had, I think, 18-20% of the capital.
Yes.
When we talk of the capital, we forget perhaps at that point in time, banking is the industry which always talks about what is your debt equity ratio, what is your tangible net worth to total outside liability, and at the same time we are the highest leverage industry. So if you have that 1/40th or 1/50th of your capital, of your liabilities, when you really need it that badly, how good it would be. So what is the right level of the capital? To me, the right level of capital would be remain about 150 basis point or so above the prescriptive limits of the regulator. Because otherwise, capital for what? It costs you. If you raise through equity route or debt route, it will cost you.
But what about the government's infusion and recapitalization of banks?
I had not seen in my recent memories that government has ever infused 25,000 crores of capital in one single year. And normally this infusion also happens in the 51st or 52nd week of the financial year. This time around of 25,000 what they had promised, about 20,000 plus crores was infused in September. Balance they'll infuse. But even as of today, I heard Finance Minister saying that we will keep public sector banks well capitalized. And you know, where from?
But is that 70,000 crores which has been given for the 4 years, is that enough?
No, why that only? There are other avenues also. Look, when we talk about the capital requirement, we should also be talking about efficient use of the capital. We should also be talking about the conservation of the capital. What we have been driving for last year, year and a half, various initiatives which we undertook about 6 quarters back, it has given me as of today cumulatively in last 5 or 6 quarters about 27-28 basis points of my capital just by pure efficiency in the system. We don't talk in the terms of how much loan growth, we talk in terms of risk weight assets. And let me give you the numbers which are published numbers of Reserve Bank of India as of September 15. If I have to compare Union Bank's risk weight assets with other public sector banks, our risk weight assets are at 70%. Our peer group is at 79%. All scheduled commercial bank is about 75%. That answers. So be more active or proactive in efficient use of your capital than just seeking capital. But
how will the liquidity ease by the RBI through those SLR norms being changed? How much of the liquidity could be, infused in the system? Because
look, liquidity is needed at many points in time. Even
will that help?
I think in the short term, yes, it will help.
Yes.
Yeah. And if I talk about my bank, as of today, my SLR is about 27%. I have liquidity. I have liquidity. So I'm really not bothered about. And this is 27% despite the fact that in my total deposits, the high cost deposits is just 1.07%. Which was as high as 10-11% about 9 months back.
Now, I just wanted to understand that while everybody is talking about the bank recap by the government to be done at 70,000 crore rupees for 4 years, how much lower is it compared to the actual requirement? If we have a sense on that.
If your question is coming from the sense that the pace of fresh accretion of slippages would continue, answer is no. If economy has to pick up at 7.6%, what we are talking about for current financial year, it can't without cement, steel, power, roads. So in the times to come, and which is I think maybe 6 months, once this picks up, whatever provisioning I'm doing, why we should not also factor about
the recovery. Which RBI has been talking about as well.
Yes.
But nobody is factoring in that.
Look, we become greedy.
And also myopic.
Yes. I mean, we don't think beyond our noses. Be myopic at times if the need be, but don't be so myopic. Yeah. Have the hope in yourself, in the system, in the country.
All right. And just from budget, what are we expecting, Mr. Tiwari?
I think as a banker, I would look for capital. And two would be like the investors in our Basel III compliant capital. the bonds, that bagging at 2% and not very many investors, that puts scarcity in the system. If institutions, like there are banks which are more than 100 years old bank, they'll continue to run. So perpetual is just a word. So there should be some clarity that, okay, this is, though perpetual, it's not a bad investment. More investors in that class and maybe some tech ops that could give a good leg up to us.
All right, let's hope. And on that note, thank you so much,
Pleasure.
Mr. Tiwari, for your time. Pleasure
sir.
speaking
Thank
to
you
you.
so much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.